Hello. I wanted to share something for the Gozu coder community of this script that I made that generates all of my AI prompts for me. And I mentioned in the Discord a bit about this, and people asked me to share the prompts in the script. So this is my attempt at doing that. So let me first show you what it does. So this is my current project that I'm working on, and the code lives here. That script that I'm sharing lives in here. And let me show you how it works. So we do Control Shift P, run task, create new feature spec. It says enter a short description for the feature. So I'll just do add test stuff. And then for the feature overview, I would say kind of like semi-detailed description of what I want the feature to do. So I want to add test stuff and whatever. And then you press enter 3 times and it generates all of these folders for you. Folders and documents. So we can come into AI specs. You can see now we have this add test stuff folder, and it is prefixed by the date, and there's no year. So the 01 here is because it's the first feature for the day. You can see, for example, back here, I went through 5 different ones pretty quickly. Okay, and it created all these documents for us. So right now, there's nothing in the generated folder. Those will get populated as we start working on these scripts. But you can see the feature overview was created here with the prompts that we used. And then all of these are existing prompts, or yeah, basically they're like completed prompts from the templates. These are the templates, and they have these placeholder tags for like where stuff should go. So you can see the first one that I always start with is the architecture brainstorm in PRD. So the feature overview got auto-populated, the project details, which is a 5-sentence description of the project, got populated, and then the project tech design, which is very long, got populated. And at the bottom, you might recognize this format from Indie DevDan, but we have our list of tasks that the AI should do. So in this case, it should ask me questions about the feature overview that will help clarify things. It'll create a brainstorm document for how it can implement things. And then it'll ask me to review the document and choose one. And then the next task is to create the PRD, which is kind of our product requirements document. I don't know. But it's a nice way to formulate like the project description and what it needs to do and what the accepted requirements are and what it shouldn't do as well, which is nice. So that's this one. And let me give you this one as an example. So we'll have come in and created this architecture brainstorm document. Let me show the preview. So you can see it created a few different options for us, and then at the bottom it created a recommendation. And then in the PRD stage, it created the product requirements document with the goals, user stories, and all that stuff. This was a pretty small change. So yeah, so it's fairly small, but for some of the bigger ones, it can be quite lengthy and detailed. So the way that I do this, actually, let me go into that first. So I will Control A on this spec document. Let's do the new one that we created down here. So Control A, and then inside of Roocode, I like having it open on this side so I can have the files here and Roocode here. And you can do that by clicking this little pop-out button, open in editor. Anyway, paste your prompt in here. And then if there are like files that you want it to reference, for example, any documentation, like in here I have like this API for this WebSocket. I might tag one of those as like WebSocket. Yeah, like the requests, for example. I might add like relevant files. So I know service is one of them. And yeah, so you can do that. It doesn't take too long to organize the prompts because so much of it is generated for you. And then you just hit enter and it will go off and do all the things. So yeah, let me go through the flow of how I normally do this. So I'll do the architecture and brainstorm. Then once that's done, I'll come in here, copy the implementation one, paste that in there. I'm usually using boomerang mode when I get to the implementation step. For the brainstorm one, I'm using architect mode. And this one, it has the same thing, so we can have related files. There are some automatically included in here, and because I included the format that Roocode expects, they're automatically highlighted in here and included in the context. Although the UI gets messed up a little bit, I'm pretty sure this is all still included. If you're doing this in the same session as the architecture brainstorm in PRD, then you don't have to include the extra files in the context like we did before. It should already have that in the context. And I kind of like to do that for the implementation as long as the context isn't getting too big. Okay, so let's say our feature is implemented now. I'll go into source control, I'll make a commit. I don't really like the automated commits that it makes, or commit messages, so I'll type it in manually. And then I'll test out whatever it made. And the next step is either to make things look nicer, which is what I call polish, or bug fixing. So let's say it got it all right except for like there's one bug. So I'll come in here, I'll write in the bug description of like when this happens, and this is what I wanted to happen. And you can see it's still auto-populated with all of our information. And if we go to the bottom, I just hit Control N to automatically go to the bottom. So it'll create a bug report first, and then it will create a bug fix plan, and then it will try to fix the bug, and it might add logging or be finished and then update the change notes. So I find these two steps of creating the bug report and the bug fix plan are really important, because bug fixing is normally where I have the AI go off the rails. So if it creates the bug report, I can at least review that and make sure that we're on the same page of like what the bugs are. Let me show you an example. So it'll actually create these folders, a folder for each bug. And yeah, it'll show you what the observed behavior is, expected, and the feature context, which is nice. And then this is what the plan might look like. So yeah, that's how bug fixing process works. I tend to walk away and let it implement code on its own after creating that architecture brainstorm in PRD, but I don't normally walk away when it's doing the bug fixing. I normally like to observe it because it has such a high tendency of doing things wrong. But maybe over time, things will get better either with the prompt or with the actual AI models. We'll see. So I think I talked about polish a little bit. So this main polish prompt is for like bigger things. So let's say in my web app, it like created a page, but all the formatting is messed up, and I want it to like re-architect how it's displaying things. So instead of just like listing things in a vertical container, maybe I want it to like create a divider and then have like these two separate containers. So that's something I would put in the polish spec, and I would describe that here, and then copy and paste this in here. And this is basically just another feature prompt, but hopefully it doesn't need as much context, and it can, and planning, it can do stuff a little bit easier. And the polish small is like really small things that maybe I should go in and like actually tweak myself. But like if I want to change the padding of an element or change like the color or whatever of certain things, changes that should be super simple, I'll just add them all in a list here, and then let the AI go through and fix all of them while I walk away and like make coffee or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much how everything works in practice. And here I'll show you what you get in the repo. So I included a blank project summary and tech design in this templates folder. So this is meant for you to just copy this whole thing into your existing project or new project and get started with like none of my normal stuff in there. Although you might want to change the templates a little bit. There might be certain things in here specifically about the project that I'm working on, but I don't think so. Yeah, you might want to double check that. And yeah, this AI docs format. Actually, you probably do want to delete all of these best practices. I'll do that now so that's not in the way. And if for some reason you're working on Svelte, there's this document, but I'll delete it right now. Those are all in the example folder anyway. Let's see. So yeah, here's the actual script. The README tells you how to get started with it. So this is the overview. We kind of talked about everything there. You copy all of these folders into specific folders. I guess one thing we got wrong in here is template generation is supposed to be under scripts. Okay, so that is done now. Okay, these are the dependencies it has. So it tells you about how to install all of this stuff. And then the usage, which is what I already covered of running it as a VS Code task, but you can also run it as command line if you want. Yeah, so this is like kind of the skeleton that you can copy into any project. And then I included all of my specs and everything from this project that I've been working on. If you want to see how I format things or how exactly I format like the tech design document. The way I did this was have it create a task list for every file in the directory and then review each file in a loop and create the documentation. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but in the AI docs, that's where I put stuff like documentation that I've pulled with Fetch about different APIs or SDKs. And this overview changelog is generated from the prompts that we have as well, specifically from the document progress one. So this will add a changelog. It'll update our project summary, which is this file, and then it will update the tech design. So yeah, that's pretty much how it all works. Feel free to ping me in Discord. I am this one, Fuzzhead93, and let me know if I can help or if you find this useful.